No,
like
and I
it.
want to remind everyone before we move forward to evaluate and adjust your relationship with the CCP, with the Chinese Communist Party. I'm trying to do this every time. I have it at the top of the page, and I always move down and do other shit. So while I'm up here, we have the book club, we have the beer shows, the newsletters, those things, all this type of stuff, all the different content that we make. Like, comment, subscribe. Already did that. Okay, with that, let me ask you this, right? So this was beautiful, seamless transition into let me ask you this time around. So,
You know I'm a fan of a hard segue.
yeah, jumping off of the back of what we talked about last episode for Let Me Ask You This. We talked about multiple parties and, you know, salvaging the government and that type of thing, right? Is there, in modern politics, can you think of a person that, if they came into office in the executive branch, into the presidential office, they would actually start to strip down the executive branch like we talked about, actually start to tear it down when they got there? And it's okay if you, so you can take a minute to think about it if you want.
Realistically, I think there are a small group of people that would be interested in that. You know, there's the Rand Pauls, the Thomas Masseys, Thomas Massey. He's the Tesla driving dude that homesteads and all that, right? Yeah. Like, they would.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, I would highly doubt it. I don't think I can't name it. I'm sure there might be somebody in the House that's kind of based in that realm, but you know, the history going back of no matter who gets into power, of consistently growing the government in one fashion or another has never changed. It's just gotten exponentially worse. I don't think there would be anybody that could do that. And at this point, too, we've talked about the machine itself as acting as a having an immune system, you know, with those faceless, nameless, fucking gray suits going around,
right,
trying to kill off any virus that wants to take a part of it. So I was even if you did have somebody that came in like that, it'd be really difficult, I think, for them to do that. But I don't know. Maybe if we got somebody in there that really flexed that unitary executive theory muscle, and then turned around and was like, "Now I'm a benevolent dictator. I'm slashing all this shit because I am the unitary executive. So fuck off."
That would have to be a real particular type of dude.
Oh yeah,
that was the way that they read the unitary executive theory.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I have all the power, it should be very limited.
Yeah.
Like,
not only do I have the power, but I have the power to go.
Yeah.
Nobody has any power anymore.
Yeah. No, I think Bilbo's probably right that you would have to get someone from outside there. And I think you're right. There's probably a small handful of people.
Oh, yeah. Dave Smith and Michael Malice would do it.
Yeah. If you got somebody from outside that came in, not Donald Trump, but someone who came in like that, you know?
Yeah.
Someone like that would have, I think, the immunity to do something like that. Because if they're
just somebody that would give no fucks.
If they don't need to worry about a political career afterwards, then what do they have to lose by doing it anyway? Mm-hmm. My concern would be the last person that I could readily think of that ran and tried to do this type of thing was JFK, and they fucking killed him. So that's my concern. Is like, and it was easier to do that type of stuff back then. Like,
and he was like a light version of it.
It would be much more difficult to carry out a governmental coup assassination in the JFK-esque style.
Oh yeah,
but then it was in '63. You know,
too much technology nowadays.
Yeah,
get him with one of them hardtack guns or something though.
But
or just
time someone
send him out hunting with
it.
Dick Cheney. And have an accident,
exactly.
You know?
But I was listening to a new audiobook that's about governmental conspiracies. And the first one was about JFK, and so it was over an hour, because I stopped listening to it to do other show stuff, of just inconsistencies in the case file of JFK and in the investigation, the Warren Commission, all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage.
Yeah.
Well, whip the phone out. Let's see what this is. I want to find out.
Yep,
this sounds good.
I found it on Scribd.
Scribd.
It is good. Yeah, Scribd, not an ad, is a good app that I've been listening to. Scribd is fine. There's only a couple things that I've wanted that's not been on there.
Yeah.
So it's not been... Okay, it is called Hidden History, an expose of modern crimes, conspiracies, and cover-ups in American politics, and it's by Donald Jeffries.
Mr. Donald.
Yeah. and it's very good. It's very good so far. So, like I said, I'm only like an hour into it. I have 16 hours left, which is nice. But yeah, just this first section was about JFK, and I was
that's fun.
like, that's not good. It's
man.
pretty obvious, you know.
Didn't Roger Stone had like a big JFK documentary or something, right? And then
Yes.
then he did like a new one or a revisited one or something like that recently.
I believe so.
I thought
Or
his
maybe an
last appearance on
extended
Rogan
cut
was
of it or
talking about
something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never listened to that one. So
Well, that's interesting because I had a bonus. Let me ask you this today,
yes.
and I feel like this might generally work in its vein, but
let's hear it.
for some reason I got thinking on this week, and I don't know why, but the concept of the selective service came into mind. The draft, if you will. I would like to know your thoughts on it, and I would like to know. I would like you to maybe pontificate a little bit about how against liberty it is or is not.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that's interesting.
Right? Because maybe I'll help you tee off a little bit while you think. Because my initial thought was, it's been a thing since World War I believe, and the concept of regardless of any status, essentially, and it's gotten worse over time. There used to be much more kind of leeway with the old conscientious objector status, but I mean, for the most part, you are forced as a citizen to sign up for the draft, and then at some point, you are forced by threat of execution or jailing to go and fight in a war that you may not want to, which seems highly against the principles of liberty in my mind.
Right, because to gain or to access government service, you have to be signed up for the selective service. And when you register to vote, you're automatically signed up for the selective service. When you get a license, you're automatically signed up for the selective service.
I'm fairly sure it's like illegal to not do that.
I think so. When you turn 18, you're supposed to sign up for it. When I turned 18, my mom did it for me. She told me, hey, I registered you for the selective service. So, because you just do it online. Like, it's just it's a very quick thing.
Now
I
had to fill out a piece of paper.
Yeah, no, now you just do it online. It's a very quick thing. I think that it's very interesting, and immediately it started to make me think about the consent that we always talk about, right? Granting consent to be governed. And I wrote that piece a couple of months ago, maybe 2 months ago, that was talking about consent and asking the question of, like, when did I consent to be governed and stuff like that.
And if you want to read that piece, it's available right now on a Patreon.
That is exactly
just got to subscribe to.
It's $5. $5 to year gets you all the newsletters. And it was 2 newsletters ago that I wrote that piece called "When Did I Consent?" And it talked about a similar topics as this. And I don't know whether or not I discussed this particular avenue, but when I was thinking about that, the only group that I could think of that maybe had officially consented to be governed were people who had signed up to be in the military. When you do that, you sign up to defend the Constitution. You sign up to give your life to do this type of thing. If that's what's
raise the old right hand and take the oath.
Exactly. Those people have definitely consented to be governed. They have signed their life to the Constitution certainly for this fixed period of time. After that, we can discuss
it gets
whether
gray.
Or not, yeah, exactly.
When does the oath stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Or does it?
So it does. In true government fashion, seems... I hesitate to say coercive because... I'll just go on, then I'll say why. So it seems in true government fashion feels to me to be coercive, that if you want to gain services of the government that we are presuming your consent under, you also need to sign up to fucking die for us if we decide that that's what needs to happen. At the same time, you are consenting to a certain point to deal with the government if you are getting services from them. If you are signing up for some way to get services, but also, like I said, it's just to go to college and stuff like that, you also have to be signed up for the selective service, which is doesn't have anything to do with the government for you to continue your education.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I would align it with that same presumed consent. That's like, oh, well, you're from here, so you're born here, so you live here and you pay taxes and you drive on the road. So of course, you consent to be governed. That I would feels like it would be lumped in with the same thing. That's like, well,
Right.
you just do the same thing. It does seem anti-liberty, especially with, as you were talking about, how difficult it is to object to it in the end. Even notable figures, people who are prominent, fucking Muhammad Ali could have been jailed for not wanting to go.
Yeah. I mean, think Vietnam era, a lot of
Right.
the draft dodgers and stuff like that, people that didn't want to go out and fight in some war. I mean, you've talked at great length about the validity, if you will, of the Vietnam War. And,
Right.
You know, I mean, there's obviously different, I don't know, the weight of the call to go fight in a war is different based off of what war. But, like, you know, if we were to start the draft up for, like, Afghanistan, that would be interesting compared to, like, the draft for World War II
Yeah.
or World War I. And I just thought it was a very interesting concept. I was listening to something, it might have been on Malice. Somebody's talking about, with a historian or something like that. And it was Matt Kibbe's podcast. I don't even remember.
Kibbe on Liberty.
Kibbe on Liberty. Interesting podcast.
Base Kibbe.
It's based Kibbe, bro. Based Kibbe. but yeah, it got me thinking that. And I was like, huh. Because I've never really thought about that. I've always kind of been like, yeah, it's patriotic to fight for your country. And I mean, in the realms of protecting freedom and liberty, even from like my own like anarchist point of view, I still carry that same kind of ethos.
Yeah.
You know, if called upon like that to make sure that I can defend true liberty like that in the home of true liberty, like I would have no problem. I'm not going to wait to be drafted at the end of the day. If it's something I wholesheartedly believe in, then I'll go do that thing.
Right, right.
But, you know, the concept of calling for more, if, I don't know, like I'm strangely comfortable with it.
Well, and that's
to a point.
It's the same type of a concept that I don't blame anybody who did combat tours in the Middle East, right, in Afghanistan or in Iraq or in any of the numerous countries that we were in this global war on terror, right? Anybody who did active duty tours or combat tours in there, I don't blame you for the actions you took, even if that war wasn't necessarily just, right? Because you believed in the cause that you were fighting for, and in certain times you may not even have known really what you were fighting for. You only know what they told you were fighting for.
Yeah.
And so if you're being told you're fighting for freedom and liberty all the time, and you believe I'm fighting for freedom and liberty, really you're fighting to whatever. We could debate that all day, if it's for oil or to grow the
Poppy
industrial complex, for poppy, for drugs, for whatever, right? We debate that all day. But I can still disagree with that concept, the dishonesty that comes from the government to coerce people into fighting their wars, and where I feel like if you were honest and people believe in that, then I don't fault anybody for fighting for something that they believe in.
Yeah.
You know? The same way that I would not fault anybody for not wanting to fight for something they don't believe in.
Yeah.
You know?
Good. I'm glad. That is a satisfactory answer to my question, sir. Thank you.
Good.
Hey everybody, Colin here from Salt of the Streets. Thank you for watching today's edition of Salty Shorts. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to check out the full episode right here on the Salt of the Streets YouTube channel. Please give us a like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to share this with all your friends. And you too can become a spreader of the message of liberty. Thanks.
Welcome to the Salt of the Streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready.